Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. Let's talk about Palantir Technologies in terms of price action today and what we could be seeing going into the new year, especially remember since the Fed had announced that they will be reducing the federal funds rate, and we have, I think, a lot of buying pressure coming into the global markets in general. In terms, the question is, how are the AI stocks going to be affected, and Palantir more specifically? We're going to be getting into the nitty-gritty about this, so make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just collecting on the data and dispatching it to you. Now, pop it up on the screen here. What you see is Palantir up about 2% on the day. Great for finishing in the green, but in terms of trading volume, a little bit lower than what we have typically seen. Here at 30 million, and we see Palantir that's kind of consolidating and building a foundational support level here in the mid 17s. And this is great, especially after those Q3 earnings that were reported. Remember, we saw that exponential explosion in terms of valuation, and we're still seeing consolidation at these levels, which is great because the next level of resistance that Palantir has recently tested, has broken out above once, is that $20 level. And being that resistance zone, it's also a psychologic and a physiologic zone because the recent 52-week high was 2185. And then just in a few days here, we'll be going into the new year, and the year to date is going to reset. So the question will be, what will be the new 52-week year to date high? Now, what we see with Palantir Technologies in terms of a stock, in terms of an AI stock too, is what are the contracts going into the new year? We're still seeing a lot of bullish predictions here into the $19 strike price. And of course, there are some puts that are battling against that, possibly saying they could see a correction. But one important thing that we're talking about here is the federal interest rates. And talking about this from investorplace.com, in the wake of these impending interest rate drops, investments are poised for a significant transformation. And talking about some of the prominent stocks in the sector that have already had a large catapult to their actual market cap and their financials shift. The first one is talking about the governmental technology solutions. And what we're seeing is substantial revenue growth within these companies, and one of them specifically Palantir right here. In quarter three, remember, there will be a 12% year-over-year increase in governmental revenue. And we've seen this with their various Army contracts, with that last one that was secure, the $250 million contract. And talking about that, they have that fourth quarter of GAAP profitability that we talked about, which is really important, not just for a company, but also in terms of a company becoming more mature. And we're talking about the S&P 500 inclusion. This fits the criteria now. Now the question into 2024, will Palantir eventually be included in the S&P 500? The only question is which company is going to come out. And in addition to that, talking about that rating in terms of a software infrastructure industry, Palantir right now has a rating of 85. And how this really, in terms of investors observer here, it scores it higher than 85% of the stocks in the industry, and that Palantir also has received an overall rating of 67, putting it above 67% of all stocks. And talking about that, we see that the software infrastructure industry is ranked 38 out of 148. So Palantir has a lot of focus behind it, a lot of trendiness, and the thing that is, I think, that is keeping their trendiness behind it is that they are delivering. However, what we've seen with price targets are across the board. That's where we do see some speculation here coming from Palantir, and also we see some uncertainty as we have some of the lowest price targets at $5. We have some high targets at 25. We've even seen some up close to 40. Where everything kind of meets in the middle is a hold rating at about the $16 price target. And we do have a reality check. This is basically William Blair coming out and saying this. We've seen him taking a bearish stance on Palantir is with regarding that recent Army contract. And talking about that, and what we think I give an opinion on it is that this was a $458 million 4-year deal. We saw that new contract that had a reduction to just 2 years and a value that was basically 1/4 of the value at $115 million right here. And we see here the 12 stock months forecast sitting here at 1340. However, I think what's important to realize, this is entirely possible about Palantir. This is a very volatile stock, and especially in a volatile industry, lots of things can happen within the AI sector. But what I think is important here to remember is the amount of valuation that's behind Palantir and the AI bubble that has been continuing to grow. I think it's important to know that there is a AI bubble that we have seen in effect. I mean, take a look at NVIDIA, take a look at Palantir, take a look at C3.ai. These other AI stocks are really being focused on putting their resources behind artificial intelligence. Now, the question is, will these stocks be able to grow into these high valuations? That's all going to depend on the company's performance, their future earnings outlooks, and also a lot of global macroeconomic variables that can have a large impact on the stock market, such as the federal funds rate. And Palantir could see a correction right here. But I think with this perspective, Palantir has always traded at a high premium, and I think we could continue to see that. So right now, day-to-day dispatch is remaining bullish on Palantir. However, that does not mean that a correction could come at a blink of an eye. And for long-term buyers, that could just be a better entry point, or for people that are trying the dollar cost average, great way to basically accumulate more stock at a cheaper price if you think it's at a bullish prediction. However, talking about that, I think there's a lot up in the air. I'll catch you guys later. Have a great weekend. Peace out. I want to know, what do you guys think? Leave it down in the comments and I'll catch you guys later.